join me for another episode of Edible and Medicinal Treasures of the Wildwood. Ahead up there we see my silly dog Will-O-Wisp. He has just gone for a romp in a nearby brook and he's enjoying himself now. It's a hot late summer day. He's cooled off and he's just having a blast. I was out here yesterday with my daughter and we were picking various mushrooms on our way out to the brook to go harvest aquatic mint, and I thought it would be excellent to do a video on aquatic mint. Aquatic mint is not something that's often seen. It's not native to North America, though it has gone feral and turns up here and there where the conditions are just right. And where it turns up, it tends to be very, very abundant, and we have quite a lot of it. The aquatic mint grows near a spring that we call the Five Sisters Spring, but because it flows near 5 enormous maples. The spring is fairly shallow until it reaches a brook several hundred yards away, yet the outflow of the spring makes a streamlet that is only a couple of inches deep, and the conditions seem to be perfect for aquatic mint. So I'm going to show you how to identify aquatic mint when you see it, and the uses are much like any other mint. It's excellent for tea. One can make a tincture of it and create from that a mint essence. It's lovely on various foods. It has all the same uses that any other ordinary mint does, except that if you are fortunate enough to find it, you can find a great deal of it. Yesterday, in a mere 5 minutes, I harvested a sack of it, about 15 pounds worth, and tomorrow, the day after, I'm going to go back and get another couple of sacks. There's no point getting it just yet because my wife is overwhelmed with trying to dry and preserve all the forage and harvest of the gardens that I'm currently bringing in. As I was hiking on my way to the spring where the aquatic mint grows, I came across quite a few interesting mushrooms, and this little trio in particular caught my attention as it's very important for beginning foragers to learn from examples just like this. What you see close up is a young leccinum mushroom. Now, all leccinums are edible unless they have orange caps. Many leccinums have orange caps, but in fact only 1 or 2, and it's not certain which 1 or 2, but only 1 or 2 have proven themselves to be mildly toxic. But to the left and to the right, just behind that leccinum, you can see 2 death caps, Amanita phalloides. These are extremely dangerous mushrooms. Even a small bit of one of these mushrooms is enough to kill a grown man. They can be easily distinguished from the leccinum because the leccinum has scabers up and down its thick stipe or stem, but most readily the leccinum can be told because it does not have gills. Under that cap there is a white, dense, spongy surface. That surface is what allows the leccinum mushroom to release its spores. The death caps, the Amanita phalloides, on the other hand, have gills, white gills underneath them. But they can be told in particular because if you were to carefully dig out the mushrooms right at the base where they touch the dirt, you would see that those mushrooms emerge from cups. You should always avoid any mushrooms that appear to emerge from cups. One of these days I'll do a video series on the Amanitas to teach people what to look out for. What I have here is a lobster mushroom, and these are rare and wonderful finds. They are delicious, and they call them lobster mushrooms for any number of reasons. 1, they look somewhat like lobsters. 2, they taste somewhat like lobsters. And 3, they smell somewhat like lobsters. A lobster mushroom is the result of a lactarius mushroom or another kind, I cannot remember the name of the other kind right offhand, being parasitized by a fungus. And this fungus causes the flesh to become dense and delectable, and makes the otherwise ordinary flavored and scented mushroom develop a distinct taste and fragrance that is so much like the seafood of its namesake. I've just stumbled upon yet another spring on the back of our land. We have at least a dozen springs that I've found. Most of our land is heavily forested and quite rugged, so even though we've lived here for 8 years, there are many places I have not yet seen or know about. We have a lovely sunset beginning to happen, though it's yet a couple of hours till the sun reaches the horizon back over there. Hello, Will-O-the-Wisp. How are you doing, good dog? Will-O-Wisp has also discovered the mint patch. Anyway, this is mint right in front of me. And I'm going to go ahead and hike a little further on so I can show you how expansive this stuff is when the circumstances are right. You can see right down in there, water from the spring flowing. And these plants are the mint themselves. The mints grow nearly a yard tall, nearly 3 feet, give or take, say, 6 inches. They have fairly distinct leaves with great definition of the central vein and the side veins going out at about 45 degrees to the central vein, many of them. They are a distinctive, deep, rich green. The leaves are staggered, going up a small square stem. All mints have that in common, the small squared stem. You can actually feel it easier than seeing it. If you grab the stem of any mint and feel it, you'll feel a distinctive square shape, and each side of the square goes in somewhat concavely. The leaves themselves are staggered, which is to say, as they go up the stem from the ground to the highest points of the stem, they grow at 90-degree angles in pairs. I will pick a mint here to demonstrate. There's a pair of leaves. There's a pair of leaves up above that, and then a pair of leaves up above that, and then a pair of leaves at the top, and then a small new pair of leaves beginning higher up. That's another trait that's common to all mints that I know of. The aquatic mint grows right down in the water. It likes to have the base of its stem growing right in water. And you can see here in this growth that it ends right there where the ground rises up out of the flow of this spring and the forest begins again. The aquatic mint strictly grows in the water. But you can see how dense it grows. That's all aquatic mint in front of the camera here. And it follows the flow of the spring as it zigzags on between rocks and further down this gentle slope. The fragrance that aquatic mint gives off is very intense. It is an intense form of mint, nothing mild about it. I would liken it, in fact, to peppermint in intensity. It is a beautiful mint. It makes wonderful tinctures, creating a powerful essence of mint. It makes lovely mint tea. We have mint tea all year due to it. Daphne makes mint sauce and mint jam to use on meats, to use on pancakes, and to use wherever else she likes it. It dries well, so it can easily be used for mint tea all through the year. It is a wonderful, potent mint with many, many uses. Let's go take a look at some even more vast growths of aquatic mint growing back here at these springs. I've been hiking now for quite some time, and I've covered a couple hundred yards from the spring head all the way to the brook. You can hear the brook just ahead over there, just within the trees. And the spring waters are just about to flow into the brook. And the brook flows pretty briskly and it's deep, so the aquatic mint will stop there. But for the last 200 yards, maybe 300, given all the winding that this spring's path takes, there's this swath of aquatic mint right down below. That is the aquatic mint, very easily distinguished by its dark green, the fact that it tends to grow clumped in vast masses, and it grows right in the water. Now, interestingly, right over here, I'm just a few inches above the water, and right here we have a terrestrial wild mint, distinguished from the aquatic mint by the lighter veins and the slightly lighter coloration and the smaller leaves. The terrestrial mint also has a lighter mint fragrance. It's much more like spearmint, whereas the aquatic mint down there is very intensely minty, more like peppermint. Well, I ended up getting a nice lobster. In fact, I picked about 5 pounds of mushrooms on the way back, mostly boletes and white leccinums and a few odd chanterelles. But this was the star of the show. This big, beautiful lobster mushroom I came across that all by itself, at least 1.5 pounds, probably closer to 1 kilo. This will be very nice for a dinner coming up very shortly. Anyway, Thank you for joining me for another episode of Edible and Medicinal Treasures of the Wildwood. If you should decide to go looking for mint in your area, odds are you'll do well. Just remember that all mints like to grow where they are well watered. The aquatic mint, and only the aquatic mint, to my knowledge, prefers to grow right in the water. It likes clear but shallow water, 1 to 2 inches deep at most, with soft silty ground underneath. And when you see aquatic mint, it will grow in dense thickets like you saw in the video, with thousands and tens of thousands of plants virtually piled on top of one another. It is the largest mint that I know of, growing as much as 3 feet tall. Go soft, go gently, go with courtesy, and leave no trace. Let's go home, boy.